Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to this week's episode in the Crush Cash Game series. Today we have a guest, collaborative video with my friend, Spewy McGrewy on Reddit, correct?
It's close. It's Speedy McGooey, but you can just call me Will.
All right, Will. As always, if you guys haven't subscribed to my channel yet, be sure to do so. And I'm also playing on Twitch, twitch.tv/enhanceYourEdge. So check me out there, and hope everybody's having a good Friday. Let's jump into this thing. Looks like we got looks like we're playing kind of maniacal. Looking at my HUD stats over the last 60 hands or so. So that trend continues with the king-queen off. How do we feel about the raise?
It's going to be tough for him to continue with his one pair hands. So I like it. You're going to be putting a lot of pressure on his ace-10, ace-9s, things of that nature.
What if he calls and the turn is a deuce?
He's playing pretty tight, and you're playing pretty tight. Could just be a check. I don't know if he would call with his ace-10s and hope you shut down, or if he'd be inclined to just fold those.
Yeah, so it would be basically facing a pretty strong range in position.
Yeah.
And we do have some equity. Not very much, but some.
True.
King can probably be good. I mean...
Yeah. King can definitely be good. Sometimes.
The queen I'm not so thrilled about, but we may actually, maybe a decent spot to bluff the queen if he's not going to be flatting us with a ton of jack X's.
Yeah, if he just folds his jack-10. I think he would call with his jack-10, though, if he's going to call with any 10x.
Yeah, jack-10 and maybe jacks.
Yeah, those would make sense.
8-10 at the top left. Nothing we can do.
Agreed.
Generally, when guys just take a the pot approach, four-way action, it's, they're not really fucking around.
No.
I love how your computer is so creaky, Will. It's like
My computer's creaky?
Yeah, it's like my girlfriend would say that it's thinking.
It's thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not thinking too hard, apparently.
Your computer is quite the philosopher. It's always thinking.
Wow, you are playing like a maniac on these tables. Except for the bottom left, pretty much.
Yeah, the bottom left, I have okay stats. My stats, and a lot of times these things are just indicative of how the game is going. Like on my direct left at the bottom left table where I'm playing relatively tight, a guy's playing 50% of his hands and raising pre-flop in 4%. So like, he's playing all his hands. I mean, it's tough for me to open light when we're getting called right behind us.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to play to the game. You don't want to be opening too wide with him, knowing you're going to get another call or two since he's a fish.
Yeah, that's why the old school strategy of just memorizing hand charts and doing things that way is not going to be profitable ever again. Like, you got to adapt your style of play to the players you're playing against.
Yeah, definitely.
So I guess we can do a little introduction while nothing's really happening. How long you been playing poker, Will?
Coming up on 2 years here. I was interested in it before then, but I made my first deposit on Bovada about 2 years ago.
Stuck to Bovada the whole time?
I took a month where I played on ACR, but that didn't go very well, so I decided to come back to Old Faithful and join Bovada again.
And it's worked out way better?
I would say it has much better games, improved my game quite a bit, Improved both my online game and anonymous play really helps my live game too, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of overlap there.
Yeah, very much so. Without thousands of hands on someone, you're just kind of going based off appearance. Kind of like on Bovada, how you're going off of small sample sizes.
Yeah, and population reads.
Exactly.
Half pot with the king 10 at the top right. No real reason to make a larger bet than that.
Yeah. I don't think he'll be continuing with anything less than a jack there.
Yep. 6 deuce off at the top left.
Sounds good.
The guy is 15-12, isolating a button limp. So obviously we 3-bet him with the 6 deuce off.
Yeah. I like it actually.
I think he's prone to do that pretty light.
Yeah, definitely. It's hard for him to flat too with hands like king queen, queen jack, and stuff like that that he'd be raising.
Yeah.
I guess he just has it.
Yeah, I gotta assume that the 4-bet narrows it down and just has a good hand. Not everybody thinks about things the same way that I do, I guess, in that, I feel like if a guy's played 40 hands and he hasn't 3-bet once, and I raise the button and he 3-bets me, I actually feel like he knows what his image is and feels like he can get away with it, so he's going to be doing it a little lighter, which makes me inclined to 4-bet him lighter.
Yeah.
But occasionally, I guess you just get guys that only 3-bet for value, and you're just punting away a 4-bet.
Yeah, it's tough to know that.
These games look pretty good, though.
Yeah, all your games look good. Especially you just had the 4-seat sit back in on the bottom left.
Yeah, that's printing money central right there.
Yeah.
With the 8-9, I feel like I'm inclined to flat because the big blind is just such a whale. I think the 1 seat's going to play pretty straightforward. 8-9's not great, obviously, but I think I can play it profitably, even out of position against the whale. Then I just snap fold it and flop top 2 and.
Yeah, I think either's fine. I mean, obviously, looking at the board, you wish you had your cards back, but either's fine. Folding's fine, and you can play 8-9 profitably. Only because 4 is in it still.
Yeah. This looks to be one of the points in my videos where I, answered a phone call or something. Where's?
Well, what's that?
I was just gonna say where I'm writing an article today and releasing it to my mailing list. If you guys haven't joined my email list, I suggest you do that like right now. I have you get access to 20 free videos in the video vault as well, and a bunch of free stuff that I think is useful. But the article I'm writing today is on reducing distractions and how the deck is kind of stacked against you when it comes to distractions like Facebook and your email inbox. Every website that you go to, people have taken time, tons of money, tons of energy into making them as sticky as humanly possible, and we just don't really stand a chance against all that.
Yeah. I'd agree. Around hour 3, I always find myself checking my phone, looking at my Snapchat, answering a bunch of text messages and stuff. I know it's bad, but at the same time, 3 hours, maybe it's time to refocus.
Yeah. What do you do when you find yourself doing that? You just go with it?
It kind of depends on how good of a session I'm having, I guess. If I'm winning, it's like, oh, it's fine. I'm still winning.
Yeah, you justify it because you're winning.
Right.
So we check raise the ace deuce at the bottom right, thinking that we're not really repping a ton. We limp called pre. Now what?
That's pretty scary. I think we gotta go with it though.
Yeah, I think because we check raise on ace deuce tray rainbow after limping in, he's gonna think we're raising ace tray, ace deuce, pocket deuces, pocket trays, obviously aces. We're not really repping anything.
Yeah.
So I think our check raise kind of disguised our hand, made us look a little weaker than we were, and caused him to spew a min raise on the turn.
Yeah, and he has reggish stats, so I think it's better to raise against him. Because he won't give us as much credit.
Yeah, and that's the argument for raising on boards like that. Ace deuce tray rainbow. If we raise a reg and we think he's gonna be kind of sticky, then we get the check raise, so 2 bets there, and then we bet the turn, and he raised the turn, so we got 4 bets instead of just check calling, repping an ace, and him just checking, and then the river us futilely betting, and most of the time he just folds.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually curious what he had there, because if he had any value, ace queen, ace jack, ace king, wouldn't he just flat the turn?
Yeah, that's a very good point. So I think I can go back because I have no idea what day this session happened.
Yeah.
9/24 it looks like.
Okay.
I can look up the hand.
All right.
Yeah, right there, ace deuce.
I feel like he would just have quite a bit of air. I don't think it makes a lot of sense to raise ace king and ace queen, especially those hands.
Yeah, so if he's got mostly air, then should we just be flatting the min raise? Like,
I suppose if we look at it now, yeah. But does he have heart draws? He would call with heart draws, I guess, like ace 8 of hearts or something like that.
yeah. All right, so
he just has a lot of air.
Since we've interrupting my video with my lobby, but I'm gonna look this hand up because I think it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. I feel like he just has queen jack, just an air ball. I don't think he has an ace there too often.
No, I don't think an ace takes that line. An ace is just gonna flat the turn, right?
Yeah. And I don't know if he knows it, but I know that you would call with aces there sometimes. So you just have the nuts sometimes. Definitely.
Yeah.
But I don't think he thinks that. I think he thinks you just raise it.
Yeah, I mean that's gonna be the pretty normal standard play, just blind versus blind. Raise aces, even though, huh?
I've come to expect not the normal from the blinds though with you.
Yeah,
I never expect a normal play.
Yeah, like why should we? I think the population overextends itself and they make mistakes. And if they're going to make mistakes, then, maybe we do things that wouldn't be profitable if guys were playing GTO or playing optimally, but they're not playing optimally. So
Oh yeah.
I tried looking the hand up, but apparently I don't know if too much time has gone by, but it wouldn't let me.
Oh. That's all right.
Gonna go out on a limb and say that he just basically had a spew, like king queen or queen jack.
Yeah.
Even 4-5 or 5, even 4-4 or 5-5, like which would have been pair and gut shots, they would have at least thought about the jam for a second. The fact that he just kind of snap folded makes me think random spewville.
Always good for us.
Ace 10 of hearts at the top left. don't really love peeling actually, but we're only 5-handed.
Yeah, he has tight stats. I don't love the peel either, but it is only over 13 hands, so this is interesting.
I mean, once we donk and he raises and we call, like, we pretty much have an ace, right?
Yeah, nines full or aces. What was the reason for donking? Was it to induce?
Yeah, I thought I could get more action if I like donk versus like queens or jacks, like a donk. And I guess occasionally he is gonna spaz. I didn't really I didn't really expect him to spaz. So hard to get a bet out of him here because his range is like he just has nothing.
Yeah.
Ever.
He doesn't have any aces. Yeah.
He doesn't have any aces. If he has kings, queens, jacks, 8, 9, his 9x's, none of them are going to be raising the flop. Like,
yeah, agreed.
Which is a pretty interesting lesson, I guess, if you on a board like that, if you do decide to just ever randomly donk out and get raised, you can flat. And if they don't bet again, you basically just win.
Yeah, and I feel like we have to put in a bet, even though his range looks a lot like queens, jacks, stuff like that. We still have to put a bet out there just to see if we can get him to pay off of those hands.
Yeah, we got to size small.
Wow, that guy didn't. That guy didn't put in any raises. Flop the nuts.
Did we lose? I didn't see the hand.
Yeah, we had ace-4 of clubs on an ace-king-queen, and he flopped the stones.
How's that pot so big?
I guess because the fish is going to call up here in the 2-seat is my guess. I was curious about that too because we were looking at the ace-10 hand.
So I limp on the button, which I don't really mind it. We can isolate, we can limp. God only knows what a min raise from the small blind means.
It's real. But now I know his hand. He probably checks, yeah. I like your line though. Just bet check. Get value from queen jack, king jack, some hard draws.
So I guess that's how that pot got so big. We bet kind of small on the turn, then check back the river.
Yeah.
28 or 32, knowing me. Probably like 28 half pot.
So if you ever get resistance from 6, it's gonna be a pretty good hand.
Gonna be maybe it won't be a good hand. We just see how he plays his good hands.
He played very passively.
Yeah, which
passively.
Always makes me think like when these guys on like a jack deuce board and a guy that plays so passively, like if he raises you on the flop, I mean, what is he really repping?
Yeah, and see, I feel that way too. They don't rep much, but then they just show me like the jack 9 or something.
Yeah, they just kind of click buttons.
Yeah.
Pretty awful shove with the 7s there. Made quads just rub his face in it a little.
Yeah. Not a good play by 7s there. Can't get called by much worse.
No.
Exclusively ace-6, maybe.
Yeah, if you have a marginal hand like in a spot like that, then you for sure want your opponent to put the last bet in because then his bluffs are in his range. Like if you're putting the last bet in, he's not going to call you with his bluffs.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one thing I've gotten from you a lot is thinking about people's ranges on the river in certain spots, and just thinking about whether or not they can have a bluff, and if it's better to let them try and bluff away or value bet thinly if I have a pretty good hand.
Yeah. Yeah, the rule is always if if their range is bluff heavy, you want them to put in the last bet. Like, there's a pretty big pot with that the fish
Top
lost.
right.
Yeah.
I didn't see the action.
Of course, I started the whole thing.
Got called by two worse hands. Okay, so Jack's flat calls.
Yeah, Jack's flats with a short stack out of position. Makes sense. And this is like, see, if I'm on my game, like, I just click the fold button right there, right? Like, that's such a mistake. Like, I should know that he just flopped the nuts and, like, called it all the way down. So he's likely to be bluffing there.
Yeah.
And he shows up with exactly a bluff. Like, he turned a flush draw. He fired 3 streets.
With king high.
Yeah. And Jacks, like, maybe the guy with the Jacks is just playing on a different level than me, and...
Yeah, I think he is. That seems reasonable. Yeah, I see what you mean, though. And he bet very small, too, and I think a lot of the times in this pool, when people are betting smaller, against most opponents, it's going to indicate how strong their hand is.
Yeah, so the king-queen, had the small blind folded, had I just folded my hand, I think that's a mistake. I need to be check-raising there.
Because you might, it's a pretty dry board, so you might check sets.
I could, but the guy's such a fish, I don't think he's really thinking like that. I think it's just a spot where, like, you know, how often do we expect him to stab there? Since he stabbed king 10, probably like 90% plus.
Yeah.
And if he's going to be stabbing 90% plus, then we can check raise him pretty relentlessly for just to bluff him. Like, we bluff out most of his range with the check raise.
Yeah, and then if we encounter resistance, we can assume that he at least has something this time.
Yeah, if he calls, we just give. But
yeah.
As played, there was like 36 in the pot. He bet $14.99, so that's $51, and we can check raise him to like $52, and it's just got to work more than 50%. And if he's betting as often as I think he is, it's going to work way more often than that.
Yeah, two complicated things at hand when he was in it, but if he wasn't in there, I think it'd be good. Yeah.
Yeah, we can't check raise once 2 calls because he just got too many aces in his range and he's a fish.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't expect him to fold any ace-x. Any ace-x are better there.
Yeah, and we don't want him to. Like, we just want him to have ace-x when we have dominating hands and just get it in against him with great equity.
Now, I am curious about the 9-10 at the bottom here.
What's the...
You flatted a short stack out of position. He min-raised with 2 still to act.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if we would be flatting. If we'd be flatting 9-10.
It's marginal, but sometimes I do marginal things. That's not good.
Ooh.
See?
That's
what happens when you make a marginal flat from the small blind.
Yeah, that was a worst case scenario.
But I mean, even still, we have 10 outs against that hand.
10s, 9s, 3 8s.
All the 8s.
Oh yeah, I forgot. straight flush draw.
Yeah. So we have 10 outs against him, so it's not the worst. Obviously, doesn't feel too good. Would rather him just have 2 aces, but...
Yeah. It's fine. It seems like a fine get in once you donk.
Yeah, no choice with a straight flush draw. The real question is, should we be flatting pre? And I don't know. 9-10's just very pretty, and I find myself flatting with it.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love those type of hands, but I don't know how aggressive 2 has been, but it may be tough for us. Well, 2's going to play fairly straightforward since that guy has a short stack. It's not like he can raise. It's not like he can 3-bet super wide.
Yeah. He's not going to 3-bet super wide because then he's pot committed to get it in versus the button.
Yeah. I'll 3-bet it. There it is.
Yeah, the where we just 3-bet this guy with what was the last one? 6 deuce off.
Exactly.
Got to mix it up. Got to balance our range. We do it with our bad 6s and our good 6s.
Yeah, the suited 6s. Oh yeah, I 4-bet 6 deuce last night actually. It didn't work out very well.
Well, I mean, generally the worst it can work out is they just jam and we fold. So.
Man, I don't know. It's worse when they flat. When they flat.
When they flat, I tend to just give up.
Yeah.
I'm too scared of. Lots of players have been flatting the top of their range, especially in position, to try to get a bet on the flop from your bluffs. You know, their aces and their kings and their queens. So when I'm out of position, I tend to just give up unless I flop trip deuces or trip 6s.
Yeah, I actually heard you talking on your stream today about a hand where I think you had 7-8 suited.
Yeah.
And you 4-bet out of position and he called and it was a dry ace high board and you check called the flop.
Yeah.
Correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And I think your rationale was you would play aces, ace king, and ace queen the exact same way.
Yeah, and he's going to be like with only 1 bet left, he's just so afraid of running into nuts that I don't think he's going to fire another shell. And once he checks back, he basically doesn't have much value in his range, and we can just bet the river and pick it up pretty much every time.
Yeah, and I thought that was a really good point. Because when people see it at surface level and think, oh, he's calling with 8 high in a 4-bet pot, it seems bad. But then you think about it, it's not like he can pile it in light too often on the turn.
Yeah, and the funny part about that story is the turn was a 9 and the river was a 10, actually. It threw a monkey wrench in my plan of bluffing when I made the nuts.
Poor thing. Made the nuts and you're trying to bluff.
Yeah. Well, then I bet the river and he folded, and I was like, damn it. But obviously, if he's calling the river, then that makes my flat of 7-8 on the flop terrible, so I really want him to fold the river, even when I do make the nuts.
Yeah, right. The one time you're hoping he has 10s there.
Yeah, exactly. 10s would be the one.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only hand you can get called with that makes it good. Let's see. This guy.
And 6s, it's marginal either way. We can call, we can fold.
Yeah. I feel like his range is going to be stronger in the small blind.
I agree.
Yeah. People tend to bluff more in the big 3-bet bluff more in the big blind than they do the small blind versus under gun.
It's always nice to have the insurance of like the 4-seat who's the fish at the table calling behind when we get 3-bet in a pot like that, like this, because we just know that the 3-seat's going to come along too, and it's going to be 3 ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because we have the 6s, we did flop an overpair, but because the 1-seat's range just basically crushes the shit out of our range, we can expect multiple shells, and it's going to be really hard to play.
Yeah.
I mean, really, like, I don't think we're doing very well just calling all in with 6s there, so should just chunk it on the flop.
Yeah, but I 100% agree. You can waste a lot of money on the flop if you call there.
And I guess, we do have some strong hands in our range. Like maybe we have queens and jacks. Maybe we do have some aces that we just flat as well. So our range, when we do call, I guess is kind of protected, but still not going to do it with the bottom of our range sixes. We have better hands to do that with.
Yeah, that's a tough spot because I don't think he c bets ace king and ace queen all that often. If he even three bets ace queen at all.
Yeah, that's the hand we beat. We beat ace king, and I don't know how about you, but like those guys that just call down with like sixes there and say that they knew you had ace king, I don't really tend to have a lot of respect for their games.
No, I'm about to play live tonight, and yeah, I'm sure I'll hear that a few times.
I knew you had ace king.
Yeah, I'm the young internet kid though, so they always think I'm bluffing.
Yeah, so it goes. That's why, they never know that we have sets in like 500 big blind pots when they have middle pair though.
Yeah.
They just put us on ace king that hand.
Seeing this guy. He probably has a pair. Check three streets.
I know.
A set of threes.
Six on the turn with the jack 10. Do we barrel through? Do we check back? Against that nit. He's a nit.
Nit, I think checking is better. A lot of his 9x, 7x, 4x picked up draws. 7-6 is two pair. 9-8 picked up the open ender.
I'm really proud of myself for betting 16 here. I thought that maybe I would try to get greedy and go for an overbet or something, but I'm proud that I bet small because he bets all of his 10s on the river. Maybe we can get called by a 5, maybe some two pair.
That makes a lot of sense. He would definitely lead with all of his 10s.
Also, with a small bet too, you can occasionally get a spaz check raise, which obviously would be lovely with the nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, that sizing can confuse people sometimes, where they think they can raise and it can be a good play.
Because they think I'm going for thin value.
Yeah, like you have a 9-8 there or something like that. 9-8, 7-8.
Well, we got about a couple minutes left in the video. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, as always. Like I said, if y'all haven't joined the newsletter, join it. And subscribe to my Twitch, subscribe to my YouTube. Do it all. It's free. Why not? What else? What do you got to lose? Thank you very much, Will, for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. And guys, really get on board with this guy here. He's legit. He has plenty of value to offer through his newsletter, through all sorts of mediums.
Thank you, sir. Looks like we're going to time out with our kings. Yeah.
No.
So I know exactly what happened there, and it's really funny. The fish is on our left, right? Kind of a tragic tale. I went to the bathroom.
The queen deuce.
I was talking to you when that happened, right?
You told me about this hand, yeah.
Yeah, I went to the bathroom, and my girlfriend was playing, and she couldn't figure out how to raise. And timed out, and we folded the kings against the 4-seed, who we've been desperately trying to stack this whole time. And this just happens to be the hand where we flop an overpair, and he flopped top pair. So probably a $300 piss break for me.
That's rough.
It felt good though.
Well, I hope so. Shoot, pissing away $300.
Yeah, literally pissing away $300. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching, and Tune in next time. Hope you all have a great weekend. Adios.